Hey everyone, I'm Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and welcome to another channel update video. Alright, so it's been about 2.5 months since my last channel update video, and I wanted to provide another one for you guys because I wanted to let you guys know, give you a bit of an update as to what's going on with me this year in particular, because it's been a very difficult year. Last year, 2019, was just so great for me. I was really happy with pretty much everything that was happening, and 2020 has, yeah, I mean, obviously, as soon as it got to sort of late February, early March, it all hell broke loose because of the ongoing world crisis, as we know. But on top of that, that coupled with the job that I was doing on top of it was very, very difficult to manage. It was basically unmanageable. Now, last time I mentioned that I had fallen out of love with my job, and that was mostly true. I still really, really like doing what I do, but it just became unmanageable, and I have since resigned from that position. I quit. I left my full-time job with absolutely nothing else to go towards. I didn't have a any sort of connections. Actually, I did have one connection, but that kind of didn't pan out. I did have another one that I didn't follow up with, but I was like, maybe it's weird to follow up with that connection because it had been, I don't know, a few months or something, several months actually. It had been like 6 or 8 months or something since I had talked to that person. So we left on good terms, but I wasn't sure if I should go about it. Anyway, the first thing I should say, the good news, I have secured more employment, which is good. And it's actually, to be honest, one of the reasons why I'm able to make this. So I'm going to give you kind of a sort of a brief update of exactly what happened. About 2 weeks before I made the previous update video, I think it was about 2 weeks, I had already resigned, but I needed to give 4 weeks of notice, and I was sort of encouraged to stay, but I decided to not, because things weren't getting any better. Every effort was made to sort of make things easier for me, but it didn't feel like it was mine anymore, in a way. Like, I had grown what I was doing, and I had taken a lot of time to do that, and I made it really good, and it just didn't feel like, it was mine anymore. So I decided after the 4 weeks to leave. One of the other reasons was because if I had stayed and chosen to look for something while I was staying there, there was a chance that maybe the thing that I was looking for was actually going to need me immediately, and I wouldn't be able to leave. But I did what I did. I left, and yeah. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. Obviously, you know how it ends. I managed to get employment, which is good. I haven't started just yet. It starts in about just over a week, I think. I have to do a few things first, and then I get to start. But the reason I'm saying, or the reason I'm telling you this, and the reason that I'm going to go through it, is because when it comes to news, proper news, like world news, it's almost always bad. Like, it's almost always someone said the wrong thing, someone's done something bad, someone's committed a crime, on and on and on and on and on. And it's very rare that we actually get good news. And part of the reason is, sometimes good news doesn't sell. It doesn't really, people are not interested in good news. But when it comes to a person, I think it's important to talk about the difficulties of getting through life. And the amount of time that I spent unemployed will be 10 weeks. So it took me about 9 weeks to find a job, which in this world that we live in right now is remarkable. I cannot believe that, I tried a lot. I put in a lot of effort to apply to a lot of the things that I was trying to get. But when I saw this particular one, I was like, I think I can get this. Like, I really, really think I can get this. So I spent, and I'm going to give credit to my sister here because she helped me. We spent about 4 hours on the resume and cover letter to apply to this job, and I think it paid dividends. It paid off. I managed to get a call back, an interview that was supposed to be a Skype interview, and then it was an in-person interview, and then it was all happening. So yeah, it was really, really great, and I'm so happy. Like, I'm actually eminently proud of myself for doing this. It was tough, really, really tough, because, I mean, to be honest with you, I've never known what I wanted to do with my life, and I still don't know. But I'm just trying things, and that's all I can really do. So there are only a very few people that actually know what they want to do with their life. And also, like, to top it off, I mean, I'm eventually going to go on a tangent here and talk forever. So I'll just say that it is interesting that the way our world is designed is like, we're born, we can do pretty much nothing but eat, sleep, and, you know, go to the bathroom for like 5 years. Then we get like 13 years of schooling. Then it's like, hey, figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. Like, that is an extremely daunting decision. And when I say rest of your life, it's like, what, 40, 45 years or something, maybe even 50 years now, because we're living so long. So that's an extremely daunting decision. And with the speed that things are changing in the world, the sort of advice of like, pick something and stick to it for the rest of your life, like, you're going to get like tired of it. It's going to be difficult, and it's not going to be easy at all. So picking like one thing is really hard. And I mean, we even saw, like, in the past, and probably for way longer, people have gone back to like study different things halfway through their lives, not necessarily just because of like a midlife crisis, but also because they want to do something else with their lives. Some people are very, very confident and they don't get anxious or sad or depressed, but they're like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to find some other thing to do. So they'll go study and find something else and try again. And, you know, whether that happens to me or not remains to be seen, but I'm just glad and like so just finally free of this anxiety that I've been feeling for 9 weeks. To know that I have something waiting for me. And I think it's a very important point to make, because look, when I left, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was pretty sure I was going to find a new job, but I thought to myself, maybe I can do YouTube full time. But the point is, or the fact is, I can't. There's no way that I'm earning enough money on YouTube. I'm currently not earning enough money on YouTube to make it a part-time, or like even a part-time, let alone a full-time job. But I thought that like my passion for it would drive me a bit more. But if I'm honest, in all that time that I spent, you know, at home, I didn't do too much. Like, I finished off Danganronpa. This episode's gonna, or this like our update video is gonna go up the day after Resident Evil 3 finishes. And that's pretty much it. I did some other stuff, which I'll mention in a sec. But yeah, like, that's kind of the vast majority of it. And what I realized is that the full-time job for me is like, it's a guilt remover. And as much as I love doing this, I actually think that I love it so much. I love doing this so much that that hobby aspect of it doesn't go away and it doesn't become work. So that's what makes it so hard to kind of like consistently do this as a full-time thing. I wonder if I was earning enough money from this to sustain myself like as a full-time job. I wonder if I would feel like doing it full-time, like if it would take away that fear. But something tells me that it doesn't. So I think for the very least right now with my life and the time being, and you know, because I don't know what will happen in the future, but for the time being, I think the most intelligent and appropriate thing to do is to get a full-time job, stay with that full-time job, and spend most of the rest of my time doing this, because I think that's what makes me happy. And it was making me happy for 1.5 years when I was at that previous job. So Yeah, I'm so glad that I got it, because like, I mean, I wouldn't be making this video, and if I wasn't making this video, I honestly don't know what I was gonna do. So yeah, it was really tough. But like I said, look, I got lucky in a lot of ways. Life is luck. It's a lot of luck. I've been playing The Last of Us 2 recently, and I was watching a speed run of it just yesterday, and I had forgotten, but there was this brilliant line that Joel says in the first game when Ellie asks him and Tessa, or says something like, wow, you guys are really good at this. And Joel remarks, it's called luck, and it is going to run out at some point, or something like that. And I mean, that's not an exact fantastic analogy, but yeah, a lot of it is luck. So, if you're in a position where you're trying to find something and you're struggling, like, I get it. Like, I get it. I've been there. I was sad, down, anxious. It's a roller coaster. Like, when your brain is not focused on something, when you haven't got this thing that you do every day, this routine, it's really hard. And I think people can do YouTube full time. People have been doing YouTube full time for quite a while now. And I think they're just far more mentally capable, and also very much more disciplined, I guess, than me. I didn't sit down and go and make like a plan of like to create my own routine when I was at home. I wonder if I had done that, if that would have made a difference. I don't know. Maybe it would have, maybe it wouldn't have. But regardless, I think I made, like, now with how everything's turned out, I think I made the right choice. And to let you know as well, the job, even though I have now this like extra week, I'm recording this on Sunday, the 28th of June. So I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I start the work. So even though I've got this extra week, the job that I was applying for actually wanted me immediately. So if I had applied for it and then I had, resigned or whatever, it would have been difficult to get away to go do it. Like, I don't know if I necessarily would have gotten that. But yeah. So in a way it kind of worked out. But like I said, I got lucky, and I just hope that you guys get lucky as well when going for things like that. So yeah, I mean, I think that gives you kind of like a little bit of an update, I guess, on my personal life and what's been going on. So essentially now the good thing is, like, what I need to do is I need to make sure that I'm focusing really, really hard on what I'm about to do, because the interviewer was also saying like this is going to be quite challenging, even though full training will be provided. So I was a bit like, if you're telling me what I need to do, then how hard could it possibly be? There's a lot of attention to detail required, which that's my thing. Like, I have phenomenal attention to detail. I know that there might be some people who watch my blind playthroughs and go, no, like, you missed a billion things. It's like, I have phenomenal attention to detail when it's like, when it's, I don't know, like text-based kind of attention to detail. Like, if you put like a whole bunch of letters and numbers in a row and then show me again those letters and numbers, and I look and there's a difference, like, I can tell you the difference, and I can accurately point out the difference very, very often. So attention to detail is my go-to. And yeah, look, I'm excited about the job. The funniest part was that, like, it worked out so well. It's closer than my other job. The hours are a bit shorter than my other job. Still, I won't work on weekends. I might get some overtime, which is actually good because I get paid. And it's something that I'm interested in. And there's an extra element to it that I guess I'll bring up as well. I'm bringing this up because I want to contrast it with like the downness of what's been going on, and how I was feeling. Because I, like I said, in those 9 weeks, it was tough. Like, it was down, there was anxiety, there was mild depression again. And it was tough, but like, to get out of it, oh man, I kind of back myself into a corner, but sometimes, like, when you back yourself into a corner, the only way out is through. So yeah. The other element to the job is that I will have to drive there, and I've never really spoken about this. I don't think I've spoken about this, but when I was resigning from the previous position, I went to the doctor and I got a doctor's note to clear me for a week because I needed some time. Like, I needed something to give me a chance. Like, I tried to stay at that previous job. I really did. I asked the doctor, I said, please, like, I'm so stressed and anxious. He's like, okay, I'm going to give you, you're too unwell to work for the rest of the week. I came in on that Monday, then I went to the doctor on Tuesday. He gave me the rest of the week off. And then I came back the following week to try it, but it just brought me down immediately and I just couldn't handle it. But during the time off, I started driving again, and like, my dad taught me to drive when I was 18, so that was over a decade ago. And the last time I drove really was like when I was about 25, I want to say, maybe. And maybe I drove like once or twice from the age of 25 to the age of 30, which I am now. But I was like, I want to give myself a shot because I was scared, I was afraid. And I know that there may be some people who will say like, scared, afraid, like, why are you scared or afraid of driving? It's like, look, driving is a privilege, not a right. And you're driving like driving is, you're moving a, what is it, like 4-ton piece of metal around at 60 kilometers an hour. And the slightest, misstep could bring you undone, like could take away your life. It's an extreme convenience. Driving is an extremely important convenience that we can utilize to get around this life quicker, but it is also, you have to realize like what you're in control of. You can't always be confident 100% of the time and say, yep, I've got control. And like that mentality. I mean, I've been watching like a lot of Joe Rogan lately, and I think he said that he's never had depression, and I'm like how? Like, that's not like, I feel like it's not possible. Sometimes people are lazy and you don't do things, and you need to do things to feel like you have a sense of accomplishment. So I don't know, sometimes I see that and I'm like, I wonder if that's actually the case. But anyway, so now I'm rambling. But yeah, the thing is, so I'll be driving there and driving back. It's a nice simple drive. It's basically straight, and a few turns here and there. So I'm a bit nervous about that, but I'm gonna do it because I need to do it, and that's what it is. I kind of actually have now put myself into a position where I absolutely have to do it. Like, I do not have a choice. So, and it's a good thing, if you're scared and all that, you kind of have to put yourself in those positions. Like, if you're scared of something, you have to put yourself in a position to overcome it, so that way you can go through it. And it's difficult. I mean, I'm 30 years old, and like, only now am I sort of like giving myself that opportunity. So it takes a long time, but yeah, you've just got to really put in the effort, and it's hard. It's hard. No one said it's going to be easy. So yeah, it's hard. All right, let's leave that to one side now. Now, all that kind of stuff, my mentality, how I've been feeling. I've actually been feeling like a lot better now, obviously, because I have this thing to go to. So that's really good. All right, so let's get down to some brass tacks. Let's go for some gaming information. All right, so this video will come out the day after Resident Evil 3 is finished. And I know another reason I wanted to make this video is because now that I have like the job kind of secure there, fingers crossed, like nothing goes wrong. It shouldn't. I'm pretty confident that everything's going to go fine. But now that I've got that security, I can sort of discuss what it is that's going to happen next. And I know I've been a little like thin on what it is that I want to do next. But that's just because, to be honest, there's like so much, and I don't know exactly like where to start. So Resident Evil 3 is done. The next thing I want to do, and I've already done like 2 and a bit episodes, is I want to get the Neo DLC done, because I did say that was going to be what I was going to do after Danganronpa, and I didn't do it, and I did Resident Evil 3, which I think turned out rather well. I'm very happy with how my Inferno mode playthrough turned out. Like, that was tough. That was really tough. It took several hours to get, especially those first 2 sections that I did, the first 2 parts. That was really difficult. If you haven't seen it, Resident Evil 3 Remake episode 27 to 31, right? 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, yeah. 5 episodes. 27 to 31 Inferno mode. Watch that. I also I planned on doing this earlier and I didn't do it, and I don't know if I will, but I might. I might actually make like a standalone video for the Inferno mode specifically, and just make like, it'll have different commentary, but it'll be essentially the same thing, just like parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all together, minus that annoying bit at the end. I think I know what happened. Like in episode 5, just before I fight Final Nemesis, there's like a cut that like I don't start from the previous save point. I start from like maybe 5 seconds after, and I think what happened was what was it? I was recording and I stopped recording after every failed attempt, and then I started recording on the next attempt, but I had forgotten to hit record before I had run down that hallway, and then that's when I started. So I think that's what happened. But yeah, I might make that into a standalone video. I don't know, because it might help my channel. I think like one thing that my channel sort of needs is like standalone videos to get more people to come in, because it's very difficult to find, I think. I mean, like Bloodborne, I think is on like 60,000 views or something like that. Episode 1, it's still my most viewed video, so it's just insane. I cannot believe, like, it's going to get to 100,000 at some point. It's going to get to 100,000, which is insane to me. All right, so yeah, I'm concentrating on Nioh. I want to do Nioh DLC next to get it done. I'll be honest with you, the first like probably 2 weeks worth of episodes will be they might be a little bit dull. I'm going to try and make them as entertaining as I possibly can, and informative as I possibly can, like I did with the main series. But just on the nature of like what you have to do for that DLC, it will be a little bit difficult. Well, it'll be difficult, but it'll also be maybe the teentiest bit boring, because I'll be honest, you have to replay a lot of the missions over and over again, but I'm doing them quickly, so there's a bit of a balance there. You'll see if you watch it. What else? So now there's a lot of stuff that I want to play, and so I'm just going to list off all these games. This is the stuff that's kind of like in my mind at the moment that I'm kind of interested in doing. It's a fairly big list. There's about like 8 or 9 games there, and I have an idea of like how I'm going to do it, but I don't know in what order yet. So the first one I've mentioned a few times. I would love to do actually the original Final Fantasy VII. There's a PS4 version which has a lot of quality of life improvements, like 3 times speed. You can have like full limit gorge and full health or something like that, full health mana or gauge, whatever the pronunciation is. You can have all that, and there's another thing. You can be invincible. Is that the other one? I think it's invincible. It's just like times 3 speed, invincibility, and like full limit and health gauge or whatever. So those are cool. I probably wouldn't use invincibility, and I probably wouldn't use full limit and health gauge, but times 3 speed is very handy for certain things. So the original Final Fantasy would be nice to do. Obviously there's the remake as well. I'm not like, I feel like if I'm gonna do the remake, I may as well do the original first and then do the remake. I'm not super interested in doing the remake first, so I don't know, like it's a bit of a toss-up. The next one I would probably be interested in doing is God of War. I think we're gonna get God of War 2. I expect an announcement maybe within a year, I'd say. Like, I think definitely within a year from now, I could expect an announcement for God of War 2. And I really enjoyed my first playthrough that I did myself, like, what was it, 2 years ago? 2 years and 2 months ago, I think it came out in April 2018, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd be very interested to give that another shot, because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I missed, like story-wise, or like little tidbits that I was like, oh, I didn't even notice that. So maybe God of War would be cool to do. Another one that I don't think I've mentioned it either at all or too much is Shadow of the Colossus, the remake by Bluepoint Games. I've played the original one. I played it was on, Shadow of the Colossus was on PS Plus, like, gosh, in like 2013 or 2014, I want to say. It was on PS Plus like ages ago, and I played it, and it's a fantastic game, and I think it would make a really, really good playthrough, and it'll be something really fun to do. So that's a potential. I didn't realize how many people actually wanted this, but on top of that, I've been feeling like playing it as well. The Last of Us. I kind of feel like, considering that it's probably my favorite game of all time, it's definitely the best story game for me personally. I think The Last of Us is not only extremely like a lot of people will say like that the gameplay is not there, but the story is so above and beyond just incredibly powerful and also like quite simple, and then it like delves into this complexity, and it's just so well crafted. I can't. And people might say like, oh, the gameplay is a bit like. I remember there was this one person that I knew who said like the gameplay was a bit but I was like, no, like I love the gameplay. The gameplay is like awesome to me. Like I really really love that gameplay. And like I said, I've been playing number 2, and the gameplay is very similar, but I'm just like, it's so good. I really really like it. So I think The Last of Us. Plus, a lot of people have been saying. I think I've had more than one person say that there's no guide for it on YouTube, or they can't find a good guide for it on YouTube, and they want kind of like a full thing. I've already mentioned there's a guy called. I mentioned it in a comment. There's a guy called Anthony Caliber who does speedruns. He has some pretty cool speedruns. But maybe he doesn't have like a playthrough where he collects everything slowly. Maybe he does. I don't know. But yeah, I think The Last of Us, and then eventually The Last of Us 2 would be something that I could possibly do. The next one would be obviously Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. I think I want to go with Resident Evil 4 next. I don't know when I would do it, but I think I definitely want to do it for 2 reasons. One, it's critically acclaimed. People say that Resident Evil 4 is like the best Resident Evil, and I haven't played it, so I have to play it at some point. And 2, the coming remake. There's going to be a remake in like 2 years, so I think the sooner I do it, the better, because when we get to 2022, it will be a nice long time between drinks, so to speak. Does so to speak work there? Probably not. It's a manner of speaking. It's a phrase. But so if I was to do Resident Evil 4, let's say this year, and then let's say Resident Evil 4 remake comes out April or September or something like that, 2022. As long as it's not January, like I kind of don't want it to be January, even though technically now that I think about it, Resident Evil 2 remake and 3 remake were out in January. So I'm hoping, a little bit further in the year, just push it nice and far away. So that way I have time to do Resident Evil 4, and then there's a nice big break and I can do the remake potentially as well. I think it makes sense to do the remake as well. So 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. Neo 2 and probably Ghost of Tsushima is the other one that the other 2 games that I would be interested in doing. Now, Neo 2, I'll be honest with you, it's probably going to be a while before I do Neo 2, particularly because now I'm doing the Neo DLC, which to me makes more sense, right? It makes more sense to complete the Neo DLC for original Neo, get that done, and then go on to Neo 2 at some point in the future. But I don't want to have like Neo and then you know what I mean? Like, so I need a nice big gap. So it'd probably be like the Neo DLC, then a bunch of other games all throughout the year. Then I think I'm going to try and do what I said I was going to do at the beginning of this year, next year, which is Danganronpa 2. I'll do Danganronpa 2 at the beginning of next year, and then maybe like Neo 2 soon after that or something like that. So it might be a little while. Play it if you want, it doesn't matter. It's all good. I wish I could do it sooner. I wish I could do more, but for all the reasons I explained to you at the beginning of the video with the personal life and the job and all that kind of stuff, to me, it makes the most sense. Have a job, do this as a hobby, and work really hard on this as well so that it can be fun and entertaining and informative for you guys as well. And Ghost of Tsushima, like I said, that's coming out in like 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't know if I'll have time to play it. I think I'm going to go buy it. And maybe I'll have time to play it. I'm really hoping it's kind of like Sekiro, in that it's like it's a single player story driven adventure based in Japan where they use like a katana, and it's got like this kind of different I want a different gameplay system than what they have for Sekiro, but I'm very confident that From Software, and is it Sucker Punch? I think it's Sucker Punch. Like From Software have their own gameplay system for Sekiro, and Sucker Punch have their own. So there's no way there's going to be like a correlation. There might be some similarities in the way that you play, but I want it to have like a really nice tight gameplay mechanic all the way through, and it can just be, because if it does, and even if the story's like not great, which to be honest it looks like it could be a decent story, like at least we've come so far with technology that story is a lot easier to convey. And when I make a guide, I can be a lot more concentrated on the story when I'm making it, because the whole process of starting it is like working on the gameplay element of it. And then when I actually play, I'm like, okay, so I know what's going to happen. Like, it's kind of like watching a movie, right? When you watch a movie like, for example, Memento. Like, Memento is an extremely difficult movie to understand because there's just so much going on. I could watch that movie probably like, I've seen it, I think, twice, like ages ago. But I could probably watch it like another 6 times, and then on the 7th viewing, there would still be stuff that I would notice. So you kind of, and it's the same with games. Like you play and you play and you play and you play, and you figure out one portion of it, and then you work on the other portion of it. So the gameplay side, once I have that mastered, then it's like I can shift my focus, because I mean, like, I'm like, it's second nature. It becomes like breathing, you know, almost. Like, I think it's also one of the reasons why I'm so good at Neo. It's like I've put so many hours into that game that it's just like, okay, I know what to do, and then like that, and it just happens, and I'm like, oh, I never noticed that thing. You know what I mean? So so that's cool. What else have we got? So yeah, like I said, I've been playing The Last of Us Part 2. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I mean, obviously the game is extremely depressing. I haven't finished it yet. I'm not going to spoil anything, and if anyone posts a comment, I will delete it if it's anything to do with spoiling the game, because there's no reason to do that. I'm not going to tolerate that. So please do not spoil the game. I haven't finished it yet. I'm pretty sure I'm close. But the only thing I will say, it's long. It's really, really long. And I think when I get to the end of it, I'm going to go, that was plenty long. But yeah, look, I don't know how it's going to end. I pretty much stayed away from like all the trailers and all the news. Like, I heard little tidbits, and then when I started playing the game, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he, like, you know, like Neil Druckmann did say this thing, and then that kind of makes sense as to like what's happening. I'm like, okay, I'm interpreting it in that way. So there's a lot of that going on. But definitely, I've been enjoying my time thoroughly with The Last of Us Part 2, and I want to finish it soon. I think I'm going to be able to finish. I've actually got it right here. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, look at Ellie. If you've never played it, it's fantastic. Also got a new controller, don't it? Yeah, you can sort of see it. I actually got a nice new red controller. It's brilliant. I was using the one that came with my Batman PS4 for a long time, and then something started to, like, one of the buttons I think started to get faulty. But to be honest with you, that Batman one lasted, I'm not joking, I think for almost 5 years, because I think I bought it in 2015. So this one I only bought like 5 months ago. It was like at the beginning of this year, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, it's good. It's going good. Nice red. Red's my favorite color. All right, what else have I got? Sorry, I just wrote down a bunch of stuff to talk about. That's how usually I go with it. All right, I mean, that's pretty much it. So I think I've given you guys a lot of information about the potential games that I want to do moving forward. And I really hope that I can continue doing this, because I do genuinely love this. I absolutely, really, really love this. I love doing it. I love... I look back at my... Oh yeah, I got to talk about that. I just realized. I look back at my stuff, and I'm like... I'm so proud to have like so many different guides and stuff like that. Even Bloodborne, where I made like the biggest, dumbest mistake, which... Well, biggest, dumbest mistake. I just purposely did things in a different way, and it turned out to not, like, it turned out bad for me, and maybe for a few people, but I think those people forgave me, which was nice. I don't think anyone got ultra mad at me, if memory serves. But yeah, I've done almost everything from Software. Yes, I will 100% do Demon's Souls Remastered. Yes, I will 100% do Demon's Souls Remastered. I need to make sure that I say that. I'm actually like really, really excited for it. Because, you know, once I get into this job and I get this nice routine going, then the weeks can just go by in a very sort of samey way, and I can focus on what I want to focus on, and it'll make me happy. I think that there's going to be tough times ahead. I definitely think that's going to happen, and hopefully those tough times are not like related to work. I think I've got a really good opportunity. When you have like a job and then you go to another one, there's such a massive difference. And I think these two jobs that I went from and to, are similar in some aspects. So there'll be a lot of like sort of moment to moment going, or moment to moment, but also like the entire day will be like, oh my god, that was like completely different than what I was doing, and it makes me, and it's like that was so much easier. Hopefully that's the case, but we'll find out. What was I going to say? So yeah, I'll definitely be doing Demon's Souls Remastered. I don't know when it's coming out. I assume at some point next year. It'd be pretty insane if they managed to get it done this year. Oh, I didn't even talk about the PS5. Sorry, PS5. I like it. I really like it. Let's do. Maybe I'll do like a poll or something like that. What can I do? Should I do the little card? Maybe I'll do the card in that section of the video or something like that. And we'll do a poll. I've never done one before. So click on the card, click on whether you like the design or not. I like it. It's so big. It's like literally like this. I know that's nothing. This is like the Mr. Bean episode where he's like, let's just measure this. You know what I mean? But it's so big, and it looks gorgeous. I think it's one of the best look. I know people be, oh, it's like a router with wings, that like some people just making memes, but I genuinely really like it. I think it looks fantastic. So yeah, bravo to them, and we'll see what happens with it. The last thing that I'm going to mention is two things. There was a tweet I read very recently that I think sums up a lot of the uncertainty that we're going through. And I know this is going long, don't worry, I'm about to finish. There was a tweet I read that sums up sort of a lot of the uncertainty that we're going through, and actually not only summed it up, but well, it didn't even sum it up, but it was like the best advice that I read. And it was something where it said the standard right now for what constitutes like a good day or being happy or staying happy is if you have a job and you don't get the coronavirus. And literally, in my opinion, I don't think I've read anything ever more true. Obviously, right, that's a dumb way to say it. That's a very an absolute way to say it. But what I mean is, like, for the time being, with what is going on in the world and that current circumstance, to have a job and not get it, not get COVID-19, it does help you get through this really uncertain time, because humans can't deal with uncertainty. We really struggle with uncertainty. Something like death is certain and it's terrible, but we hear it, we understand what it is, even from a really young age. That's the crazy thing. I think like kids, even like between the ages of like 5 and 10, that's when they really start to learn about death and what it is. And it's something that, we all understand what it is. We all know how to deal with it. But this is hard. This is hard to deal with. So my advice is, if you're like feeling anxious or stressed, first of all, get some sun into you. So presumably a lot of the restrictions have lifted to the point where you can actually like leave your house, but get some sun and exercise. Those things are always good. And it might not necessarily always feel like it's making a difference, but I think it's still important to do. And I may have said this last time, because I was using the last update video notepad to just change things around. I didn't change this, so I may have said it last time, but it's a good message to say. So yeah, definitely get some sun, definitely get a little bit of exercise. You don't have to be strenuous, like do 5 minutes of stretches or something like that every day, and if you want to up it, do it. But yeah, I think the most important thing is like keep working towards getting a job or finding what it is that you're passionate about right now if you're struggling, and trying to put yourself in a position where you have a routine that you can constantly follow, because I think that's what will help with the uncertainty. And then once this passes, because it will pass, it will take a long time. I think we're going to be with this for a very long time, but once it does pass, and fingers crossed it will pass, that with great tragedy comes great triumph. Like we'll get through this, and hopefully there's something really, really, really good on the other side of this. So we just got to keep going. We got to hang in there. And now, weirdly contrasted, because I didn't mention this before, the other two things that I did so far and that I'm trying to continue doing while I was at home was I watched my Resident Evil HD playthrough back, and I created some descriptions for that. I believe the term, I think if I'm not mistaken, the term for like the descriptions in the videos, like when I've been doing it, I think ever since like Resident Evil 2. I think that's called copywriting, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not great at it. Like my English is good. My English is, I'd say, okay, like let's measure it as like good, great, excellent. My English is like sort of great, between great and excellent, I think. My copywriting skill, I think sometimes I ace it. I think sometimes I write like quite well and with nice precision and flair and sophistication, as they always say. There's that word again that we shouldn't say, but as is often said, shall we say? There we go. I'm fixing up my copywriting right now. Yeah, and look, it's not really a big deal. I get it. It's absolutely not a big deal, but it is a big deal to me. I there are a lot of videos that I still have that don't have descriptions or even titles. The biggest one, I think, the biggest culprit is the Tales of Symphonia. I didn't write down titles and descriptions for that. Several years ago, I started watching that and started making titles and descriptions. I think I got to like episode 60, and I would still like to go back and do that, but I didn't do that one. What I have been doing instead is, like I said, I did Resident Evil HD, so now that has descriptions for everything. And I also have been doing Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 has like 140 something episodes, but they're only 15 minutes long approximately. So I've gotten through 60 of them. So I have been doing something. It might not seem like a big deal to you guys. I think some of you will say like, oh, that's actually like really cool. So it might not seem like a big deal to you guys, but to me it is a big deal, and I want to keep doing that. So I'm going to keep doing that with the remaining time that I have. I'm going to keep working on Nioh. In terms of what to expect after this, so tomorrow I should be able to upload the first episode of Nioh DLC, and then we'll just keep going with that, I think, until we finish it. And then by the time we finish it, I'll have something worked out for whatever's coming up after that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's where I want to leave it. So hopefully, I know that was a really long one, but I also know that I think there are people who, like, I really enjoy this stuff. I really enjoy like the vlog aspect of things, and some people really like long form content. And I know that when I was watching like a lot of specific people, and I'll sometimes go back and watch like these long form videos and stuff, talking for a long period of time. I like it, and I hope that you guys like it too. So when it's a bit longer, but yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. So I hope that you guys are really safe and well. I hope that something in your life is going well, and if it's not, I mean, that you've just got to keep trying. Like, it's as hard as it is, you just have to keep trying. And trust me, I struggled a lot. And if I didn't get this, I would have been devastated. I would have been absolutely devastated. And it might have taken me like weeks to get over it, but I would have kept trying and trying and trying and trying. And that's all I can say. Geez, I've been going on for so long that you can see that the day is becoming night. It's 4:30 almost in the afternoon. All right, so I've got a lot of work to do because this video has to go up in like 22 and a half hours, and I just have to watch it back, which I don't even think I'm going to edit anything, but I'll watch it back. I've got to do the poll, that's right. So I'll watch it back and then get it uploaded so you guys can see it. So enjoy, stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for everything that you guys do. I hope to continue doing this. I feel re-energized, I feel confident again, and I'm so glad that I do, and I'm going to try and maintain that for as long as I possibly can. And I think I have more experience now in order to make better choices, and keep going. Stay safe, guys. My name's Ultima456. You're the Ultimates, and I'll see you next time.